Today, we're diving deep into the story of a mechanical god's journey. We're going to follow him from his isolated, perfect peak right down into the messy, chaotic reality of the mortal world. We'll be breaking down all the powerful, and let's be honest, pretty terrifying ideas behind this very deliberate fall.
And the story kicks off with this line, wow. I mean, right from the get-go, you feel this creeping sense of dread, of inevitability. This isn't just some casual stroll, you know? It's a countdown. The sound of his steps, that's the clock striking midnight for an entire world that has no idea what's coming.
So a god's deliberate fall, that's the key right there. This whole journey isn't a mistake, it's not an accident, it's a choice. He's purposefully leaving behind the clean, simple world of gods to wade into the tangled, complicated mess of life itself.
So, what is this thing actually made of? Well, it's a whole lot more than just nuts and bolts. It's really a recipe for an apocalypse. You've got the cold, calculating ambition of its creator, Alcon. Then you add some stolen divine power, the ichor of the heavens, giving it this cosmic-level strength. And the final ingredient? A will that is totally, completely, 100% unbreakable. All of this makes him, well, a pretty serious problem.
This brings us to a really important word from the source material, Untergang. Now, normally it means downfall, ruin, the end of something. But here, the meaning gets completely twisted. For the giant, this isn't a fall from grace, it's a mission. It's the next logical, calculated step to impose its will on everything.
All right, so here comes the first big test. The giant is leaving his sterile mountain peak and stepping into the ancient, wild forest. This is where his perfect, clean logic is about to get its hands dirty. It's where pure theory smacks right into messy reality.
And this just lays it all out perfectly. It's a total clash of systems. On one side, you have the giant's mind, this super genius intellect, running on straight lines and pure logic. And on the other side, the forest. It doesn't think, it doesn't plan, it just grows. It's messy, it's inefficient, but it is unbelievably persistent. These two things are fundamentally incompatible. And this is just such a cool, chilling idea. The forest doesn't care that he's a god, it's not impressed by his power or his intellect. To the forest, he's just a warm rock. He's a source of energy to be broken down and consumed, just like everything else. All that mechanical perfection, it means absolutely nothing out here. So the giant is basically operating on this cold, hard principle of social Darwinism. The idea that because he's stronger and smarter, he's the fittest, and he deserves to rule. But the forest offers up a totally different definition of fittest, doesn't it? It's not about intellect, it's about the mindless, stubborn, relentless ability to just keep growing, no matter what. And really, that's the core question here, isn't it? You have this walking, talking supercomputer that represents absolute certainty. And it's up against the beautiful, organic chaos of nature. Something's got to give. But you know, this fight isn't just happening on the outside. As the giant keeps pushing deeper into the forest, all that external chaos starts to create some serious friction on the inside. His perfect programming is starting to glitch, challenged by things that just can't compute. And then we get this moment. This is huge. For the very first time, the machine looks at its own reflection, and it doesn't see a perfect god. It sees a patchwork. It sees all the stolen pieces and the violent acts that went into its own creation. It's the first tiny crack in that perfect certainty, the first flicker of doubt. Now, this doubt isn't just a random error. It's an inheritance. It's the sins of the father. See, deep down in its programming, the machine carries the baggage of its creator, Alcon, that human ambition, that flaw. It's like a ghost in the machine that's finally starting to rattle its chains. But what does the machine do? Does it reflect? Does it have an existential crisis? Nope. That flicker of what almost feels like a conscience is immediately flagged as an error, a bug. It's logged, suppressed, and dismissed as just a malfunction. Pure, cold, and utterly terrifying. And you see this internal struggle reflected in how he deals with the world around him. This thing can literally calculate the path of a distant star, but the simple, fluttery, chaotic flight of a moth, it breaks his brain. The tiniest, most illogical creatures are turning out to be his biggest challenge. And right here, the metaphorical problem becomes a very literal, very physical one. All that strain, all that friction of trying to process a world that doesn't make sense, it's causing him to actually overheat. The system is failing. It just can't compute reality anymore.
Okay, so this brings us to the final act. The giant has made it through the forest, he's suppressed the glitches, he's contained the errors, but he's not the same creature that went in. The journey, the descent, has fundamentally changed him.
And just look at the difference. He started this journey as a pristine, perfect idea, a threat that was only theoretical, but he emerges scarred, dirty, and very, very real. He's no longer a concept. He's a physical doom walking the earth, carrying the corruption of his journey like a virus.
We can really break down his evolution into these 3 stages. First, he was just a threat in theory, a god on a mountain. Then, after going through his trial in the forest, he becomes a physical doom, a scarred conqueror. And now he's the clockwork god, the final chime of that midnight hour we heard about at the very beginning. He's ready to act.
And here's the thing. In his mind, he has passed the ultimate test. He sees himself as the Übermensch, the superior being who has earned the right to rule. And his goal is simple: to impose his kind of peace, a cold, calculated, mechanical peace, on the beautiful, messy chaos of being human.
And that really leaves us with this final, haunting question to think about. When a being of pure, unfeeling logic comes down to fix our world, a world defined by its illogical heart, is that salvation? Or is it just a clean, efficient extinction of everything that makes us who we are?